I marked out for a lot of this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nitro 123, also January 19th, 98. The opener was, in fact, Rick Martel versus Eddie Guerrero. Now, I don't want to oversell this. This was a 3-minute Nitro opener. But this is one of the best 3-minute Nitro openers you will ever see.
That's because Rick Martel is the best babyface in the history of wrestling.
And with that said...
Who's better?
Short list.
With that said, the moment Eddie Guerrero steps through the curtain, he's on.
Yeah.
He's got a scowl on his face. You can tell when he walks through the curtain, oh, I'm supposed to hate this guy.
Uh-huh.
He's got a scowl on his face. He's taunting the fans. He is so perfect at his job.
This match was so awesome. Not because it was the best athletic spectacle you ever saw, although it was very good. Rick Martel's out here at 42 doing press slams. But they, in 3 minutes, established this guy is evil. This guy is heroic. And they made you, the viewer at home, they didn't just tell you, here's a hero. They and he got you to actually care about this hero and want to see him get his comeback. His selling was so great as he's fighting and crawling his way up the ropes, clawing up the ropes either way. Eddie is out there complaining about hair pulls that didn't happen and taking cheap shots to the knee to get the heat. And finally, Martel just dodges a dive, hits a spine buster, turns it over into the Boston Crab for the win. Oh, this was awesome. This was tremendous pro wrestling right here.
And the crowd in Louisiana went ape. They were so awesome all night, minus the two guys on the hard camera side where the camera was. There was two guys in the front row. They were putting each other in the rack.
Okay. I noticed it in Lex Luger's match.
Yes.
They were doing it all night?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Fuck those guys.
Absolutely.
This match ruled.
If I ran a wrestling school, everybody would need to watch Rick Martel tapes all day long. All my baby faces. He had the best babyface fire. He was so awesome. He was awesome firing up. He was awesome when he got mad. He was awesome when he made a comeback. Every babyface thing that Rick Martel did. And this is the guy that was the model.
Yeah.
In fact, Rick Martel, he had this idea for the model Rick Martel, heel. And apparently he presented it to Vince McMahon, and Vince was just like, I don't buy it. And really, when you watch Rick Martel in this match here, if you'd never seen Rick Martel as a heel, you only saw Rick Martel as a babyface doing what he's doing here. If Rick Martel had come to you and said, I got this idea, I'm going to be a bad guy, he'd be like, fuck off, dude. No way. But he let him do it, and Rick Martel was an awesome model.
He was so awesome because he came out here on Nitro, and he's all happy and smiling and jumping back and forth. He's so happy to be on Nitro Wrestling. And then Eddie jumps him at the bell, works him over for a minute, but Martel's a great hero. He doesn't stay down for long, and he fires back, and he's punching and punching, and now he's pissed off and ready to go. Eddie's hiding the ropes. Martel's daring him to come fight. I want these men to wrestle 500 times.
I know, it's
I believe
so
it was
sad.
just one.
Yeah, Rick ended up getting injured, and he was done.
Yeah.
A disaster. It's a tragedy.
They showed clips from Thunder. Now, when you show clips of a match that happened on another show, I believe the idea is to summarize for the viewer at home what happened in a neat package, a sentence or two. There were 7,000 goddamn things in these clips.
Dude, they couldn't summarize it. They just had to play the whole thing.
They couldn't pick the most important part. This highlight package, first of all, it was longer than the Martel match, and that pissed me off. NWO guys don't like each other. DDP's not there. Lex is fighting on his own. Savage hates Nash. Nash hates Savage. Sting's there. The Giant's there. A brawl breaks out. The only thing I took away from this is that at random, of these 20 guys fighting in the ring, Hiroyoshi Tenzan. He's just randomly out there on Thunder trading punches with Sting.
He's buddies with Hall.
See, this is why Nitro had to move to 3 hours, because they added 2 hours to the other show.
Oh, you muted me.
I did, I'm sorry. So listen, here's what I thought watching this. Why do we have 5 hours of first-run television here?
I don't know.
And you know, maybe I'm sure there's somebody out there saying, well, they didn't know at the time. Wrong! Eric Bischoff knew that adding 2 hours was a bad idea. But, and this is ironic, they were pushed into this by the company, Turner. They wanted more programming. They wanted something on TBS. And they had to do it. Very much
familiar.
like USA wants a third hour of Raw. And boy, did this thing start going off a cliff with those 3 hours. This angle here wasn't bad, and it should have aired on Nitro, but instead it was on Thunder, and you can already see they're stretching themselves way too thin.
So Hogan and Bischoff came out for a promo. Hogan runs down Sting. He vows to beat the Giant tonight.
Okay, did I really hear Hulk Hogan holding a bat and saying that if the NWO got out of line, he was going to smash them with the bat like they were his own children? Did he not say that?
He may have.
That's what he said.
So, yeah, the announcers, I'll be honest, I zoned out immediately and I didn't catch much of what he said. But the announcers were talking about it. Yes, he was coming down hard on the NWO and telling them to fall in line and obey the pecking order. Anyway, the next match is Marty Jannetty and Chris Benoit. This match also ruled. It was back and forth constantly the whole time, but it was awesome because they were both working so hard at it.
It's too bad this Jannetty had so many problems because he was a very, very talented professional wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Also a great babyface.
Yep. About 5 minutes in, Raven and the Flock came strolling down the aisle. And Benoit immediately caught Jannetty in the crossface for the win. The Flock attacked. Benoit fought them off, had a stare down with Raven. Then he got attacked again. Jannetty recovered and he helped Benoit fight him off. And it ended with Benoit laying out Lodi and staring down Raven.
Man, when this guy got his hands on Lodi, place went crazy. Finally, he's got his hands on that idiot with the sign.
I'm hoping this leads to a Benoit Jannetty team.
It has to. I don't remember it, but I presume it has to.
I wonder if the crowd just popped because Lodi's the most annoying one in the flock.
No, they probably popped because one man beat up 5.
Well, Jannetty helped.
Then they went after him, and then Jannetty helped.
Jerry Flynn versus the Cat.
This wasn't as good as the first two
It
matches.
was poorer. So they're both doing karate gimmicks. And so they meet in mid-ring, and they bow. And then Flynn turns to the audience. And that kind of points with his head to the Cat and says, we should bow to the crowd. And so Flynn does like a half bow, and Cat does a deep bow, but Flynn jumps him mid-bow. He has no honor. We got a bunch of kicks, some ankle locks,
Let's be fair.
an arm bar, an E-bar.
Fans chanted boring, but it wasn't boring. It wasn't good. It was probably a little too advanced for these 1998 fans.
I don't think
that
the
why
fans
it is?
recognize triangle chokes and stuff.
No, they were doing triangles, arm bars, knee bars. The fans were like, why is he doing with his fucking legs around the guy's head? And then Miller won, and the fans cheered that it was over.
My favorite was the guy in the front row who, right at the very end, he stands up, he shakes his head, he gives a thumbs down, he sits back down.
Hey, they also chanted Goldberg, hoping he was going to come out and kill both these men.
Yeah.
And the travesty was this was 4 seconds longer than the opener.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I realize that opener got screwed. Scott Hall came out for a survey. I think WCW won.
Yes.
And then Hall says, due to winning World War III, I have a title match coming up in February. I also have a match this weekend against Larry Zbyszko at Sold Out. I would just as soon not have that match and spend more time getting ready for my World Championship. So, Larry, I'm giving you one more chance to back out. He says, Larry, yes, you were AWA champ only because the boss was your father-in-law. And then as champion, the company went out of business. You're not even the best wrestler/announcer we have because that's Dusty Rhodes. And finally, Larry cuts a promo on Hall and starts towards the ring, but they go to break.
Love promos like this that just bury Larry for no good reason. You know what I mean?
Well, it's also
It's a receipt. Let's be honest.
I guess.
for...
For Larry being Larry.
Oh, well, that's fair. Steiners versus Buff Bagwell and Conan.
I thought this was awesome.
It was.
Yes. They explained that Scott had no-showed a match on Saturday night, leaving Rick high and dry. Which I actually just now realized how important that part of it is. Mm-hmm. So now Scott starts the match, and he refuses to tag Rick in. He's running wild on both guys for a while. They low bridge him, and he tumbles over the rope, lands neck first on the apron. Don't do this, people.
That was really ugly.
Yeah. And then he makes his own comeback. He still refuses to tag Rick in. Rick is standing in the corner with his hand out, very confused, even more than usual. And finally, Scott pins Conan with a pile driver.
So amazing because it's a square driver.
Apparently that's what it's called, yeah.
Did the suplex into the pile driver. Scott
thread
beat
on the board.
2 men all by himself.
Yeah.
And all Buff Bagwell cares about is that he's buff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Buff at the end still wants to challenge Scott to a pose down.
Yeah, he doesn't care about the match. He's like, dude, look at my biceps.
And Scott is willing to pose right back at him.
Yep.
They're simpatico, even as rivals. Rick is grumpy. He gets in Scott's face, but Scott just walks away. And the reason this is all so great, and I didn't realize it until actually right now, Scott left Rick high and dry, so Rick had to do a match by himself. Mm-hmm. So Scott came out here and did a match by himself to show how it's done. He's showing off to his big brother, I guess.
I thought this was great storytelling. I thought everybody played their role well. And Big Papa Pump is coming.
The origin story is unfolding.
It really is. It's step by step, episodic, and it's all great. Everything's logical and makes sense. Gene Okerlund brings the Giant out for a promo. The Giant's talking about chokeslamming Hogan later when Hogan and Nash both come out. Nash is getting in Giant's face, trying to bait him to attack and forfeit the $1.5 million. As this is going on, Randy Savage runs out to attack Nash, but Hogan is able to talk him out of it and send him to the back.
Nash is holding a cup of coffee, by the way.
Yeah. But then Savage returns. Savage pushes Hogan in the back. Hogan bumps into Nash. Nash bumps into the Giant. So Giant's now peeved. He's calling for the chokeslam. Before he can hit it...
So was that part of the deal that he was not allowed to touch Nash unless Nash touched him
Unless
first?
he was provoked.
That would be if they had...
Well, it can be provoked because he was being provoked the entire time.
That's true.
If Nash touched him first, Giant could defend himself. That's how it should have been explained.
I don't think it was ever explained like that.
I don't think so.
You are right.
But it makes sense that way, so let's just go with it. Because Nash, rather than take this chokeslam and get $1.5 million... By the way, if anyone wants to give me $1.5 million, I will take a chokeslam from the Big Show. Mm-hmm. Nash throws coffee in his face, runs away. Hogan beats up Giant with a baseball bat. Sting runs out, lays out Hogan with a scorpion death drop, and he grabs Giant by the head and gives him a screaming pep talk to fire him up.
Boy, did he fire this guy up. That was one angry Giant.
Mortis versus Booker T.
That's where they announced 3 hours live every Monday starting next week.
Sad day, you dirty fuckers.
I heard Vinny sigh from 45 minutes away by car.
Yeah. So, I had a lot of buffering problems during this match.
Oh,
I think it was just during this.
maybe it was Booker T when he nearly killed the guy with a power bomb off the top rope.
I did see that part.
He folded him in half. He landed on the back of his head and shoulders. Oh, my goodness.
I don't even know what happened. Like, I think that maybe Mortis thought that Booker was going to, like, jump and put him in the middle of the ring. And so he kind of laid out a little bit, but instead, Booker just dropped him straight down, and so he landed on his shoulders. One way or the other, it was absolutely brutal, and he was fucked up afterwards.
Yeah.
This power bomb, by the way, was from the second rope.
Yeah. Booker was standing on the second rope.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, this is no good. Mortis was alive, and he got through the rest of this match, but he did not look 100%. And Booker shortly won with the Harlem Hangover. And Wrath hit the ring. It lays out Booker with a rock bottom. But Rick Martel...
You mean the death penalty.
Death penalty. Error. Rick Martel runs out to make the save. Wrath leaves. And then they do the exact same angle they did last week.
Right.
Well, kind of. Last week, Martel wanted a title shot, and Booker said he just had to sign. And this week, Martel specifically said, I wanted this coming Saturday. It sold out. And yes, it's Saturday, so they can avoid the Super Bowl.
Which they took shots at.
Larry took shots at
Larry and Bobby.
The other announcers are like, what are you talking
It's
about?
the Super Bowl. We're not dumb. Okerlund brings Flair out for a promo. This was awesome.
Flair actually got the mic away from Gene for a little while there.
I know.
And
Maybe the
Gene
first.
was like, give me that goddamn mic back
I
now.
have one job, Flair. They formally announced, if they had not already, Ric Flair versus Bret Hart at Sold Out.
It is really amazing that they're doing this match already. It's crazy.
Yeah, there could have been a bigger build for
You
it.
got Ric Flair and Bret Hart, and like Bret just showed up, and they're already doing this match. He hasn't even been in the company a month yet.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it because at the same time, they're so stacked. This is like the third match from the top.
Well, yeah, but my point is, like, Bret could have faced anybody in his first
Would you rather
pay-per-view
seen
match.
Bret versus Buff Bagwell?
Sure. Actually, I would have at this point.
Okay.
That would have been kind of fun, really.
Okay. Fair enough.
But there could have been a bigger build for it because these are two huge icons in wrestling.
Yes, there are.
And if
Not to
they
mention,
would've-
Bret won the title from him years earlier. There's a story here.
If they would have built it up for months and months and months and leading to it could have paid off big as a main event. That's what I'm saying.
Fair enough. Anyway, Brett interrupts quickly. He puts Flair over like $1 million, says, I have all the respect in the world for you and what you've done, and you are one of the best of all time. I'm not here to disrespect you or Americans or WCW. I know I'm the new guy in the company. I have to build a new reputation and start my career all over again. But Saturday is going to be a long day for you because I'm on a mission, and it starts with running all over you. And Sunday morning, you're going to know that I'm the best there is, best there was, and best there ever will be. And Flair, who is quite frustrated by all this, says, one of us is going to have to deal with a loss, but I am not going to let you say one more time that you are a better wrestler than me. Now, I'm not fighting tonight. I'm going downtown, he says. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to give you one more chance to say I'm the best, or I'm going to teach you a lesson on Saturday. And Brett refuses to say this. He just says, I'm going downtown too. And he walks away, and Rick snaps. God damn it!
He sold the fact that Brett would not say these words.
And that was it. This is so great. It's two guys who are going to have a fight just because neither will admit the other one's better.
Yep.
Awesome. Showed Jericho attacking Mysterio and Nitro last week. And we had Chris Jericho versus Juventud Guerrera. And Jericho is Mr. Over-the-Top Nice Guy in this match, constantly shaking hands, applauding Juvi for all he had done, calling him a hell of a sportsman and a great athlete. And then when Juvi falls out of the ring, Jericho holds the ropes open, but it was a trap. And he kicks Juvi coming in, beats him up a bit, and taps him out with a Boston Crab right away. And then Jericho gets a promo, says he had not meant to keep that hold on as long as he did. He only wanted to hold it as long as necessary. He did not know Juvi was tapping. It's the ref's fault for not letting me know. And I believe this is the first time he said it would never, ever happen again. Mm-hmm. He apologized to Juvi, but Juvi blew him off. This pissed Jericho off, so he beat up Juvi. Then Rey Mysterio ran out to make the save, and the Mexicans hit Jericho with all kinds of cool double teams and sent him packing, and the place went nuts.
Ray and Juvi were an awesome team.
Yes.
What a surprise.
And Jericho's turning into a fun heel.
The same, well, yes. The fun heel he has been for most of the past 2 decades.
Yes.
Nitro party clips. This appeared to be just one big family get-together with one guy dressed like Sting.
Yep.
There's been one of these parties where I thought that looks fun and I'd want to go to that.
Now, they had a contest, and now Gene and some of the Nitro girls are actually going to somebody's house to watch Nitro with them at their Nitro party. Mm-hmm. Yikes. Call the cops now. Dial 9-1 and just wait.
Scott Hall versus Lex Luger.
You know, this Scott Hall comes out here, and he does the longest surfboard since that time that Kevin Owens did a 3-minute headlock on national television. And he has him in the surfboard, and he's holding him, and he's holding him, and he's holding him, and he's holding him. And then Luger reverses it, and he holds him. And Scott runs and runs and runs and runs, gets a low blow. Then they went to a sleeper hold. They have a long sleeper hold. And I'm sitting here, and I'm just fixing to bury this match. Like, you ain't doing a goddamn thing, dude. Are you asleep? And I realized this place is going crazy. And I realized that's what wrestling's all about.
Yes.
Right.
He's doing exactly as much as he needs to do. He's not doing any more. The fans are not feeling ripped off. They were feeling ripped off earlier when the Cat was out there having a horrible match. They weren't feeling ripped off here.
No.
They were perfectly accepting of a long sleeper hold and a long surfboard. So what the hell should he have done more for? More power to the guy.
They did, in fact, do nothing. And Lex made his comeback and put on the torch rack when Savage hits the ring for the DQ.
He got that rack on, and every last single person just looked to the back. Mm-hmm. And out they came. They were right.
Yeah. So they double-teamed Luger for a while. Zbyszko ran out, and he got double-teamed too. And finally, Luger cleared the ring with a chair. Main event time. Hulk Hogan versus Giant.
You know what's funny?
And I do mean Giant,
Yeah.
because that is what Michael Buffer said.
There was no the.
Not the
No.
Giant. Giant.
Yeah, it's his name, Giant.
Right? Giant. 2 words.
So I expected this to be like a 1-minute match with just a run-in DQ finish or something like that. They got there and they actually wrestled for a long time.
6:09 to be exact.
Hogan had his working boots on.
I suppose.
It was no good,
They were airbrushed.
but he had his working boots on.
He's eventually, he sells forever. He comes out in a neck brace first and says this match won't happen, so Giant just tears his neck brace off and destroys him for a while. And then finally, Nash snaps Giant's neck on the ropes for the heat. And Hogan's working him over. And it's time for Hogan to finish him off. So he goes for the big boot. And he grabs Giant by the hand and pushes him in the ropes and sends him across the ring, and Giant runs. And I said, fake! That looks so fake. That's impossible. So Hogan goes to the big boot, which catches Giant in the belly because he's the Giant.
Right.
And Giant kind of weebles and wobbles and won't fall down. So Hogan hits the easiest body slam you ever saw. Goes to the leg drop. The ref counts 1. The ref counts 2. But then Randy Savage is on the top rope and everyone stops. Hogan stops. The ref stops. Everyone just stops. This gives Giant a chance to recover.
Let's pause for a moment.
Yes, let's.
So, I'm watching this, and Hulk Hogan, the heel, hits the big boot, the body slam, and the leg drop of doom. He makes the cover, and the ref counts 1, and the ref counts 2, and there's Randy Savage climbing up the ropes, and the ref just stops for no reason. And at first, like, I was getting so mad because I'm like, okay, so clearly, like, Savage was supposed to come off the top, but he was too goddamn slow. And so Hulk Hogan just got a visual pinfall over the Giant.
Correct.
And then I started thinking, this motherfucker, thinking back to Starrcade.
Yep.
Hogan got fucked, the stupid fast count. Then they did it again, and he got fucked again. Now the Giant got fucked. I bet Hogan told Savage, I know you're supposed to come off the top, brother, but be a little slow. And then the referee, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking of all of these conspiracy theories. But then, when all was said and done, Hulk Hogan got pinned.
Yeah.
So Savage could not have come off the top with an elbow. This match was designed this way.
Yes.
So while it was not a conspiracy, Hulk Hogan did design a match where he got a visual pinfall over the Giant.
Absolutely.
I guess he had to get something if he was going to lose.
Did he? Did he really?
And the funniest part was, the ref just stops, and Hogan gets off the Giant. You gotta watch the Giant when Hogan gets off of him. The Giant, literally, he just sits up, he looks annoyed, and he stands up, and he just goes and does the rest of it. He didn't sell, he wasn't tired. If anything, he just looked pissed off that this looked like such shit.
So Giant chokeslams Hogan and pins him. And I was more impressed by Hogan taking basically a clean pinfall loss on Nitro than it was about the visual pin. So Savage has a brawl, Luger has a brawl, Nash is out there, everyone's fighting. And Sting descends via cable to get in the brawl, which is not news by itself, but they were in the Superdome.
Right.
This dude was way, way up in the air.
They claim 27 stories, and I don't think they were exaggerating.
I'm guessing.
I was in that building. It's big.
I'm guessing that's why he ended up where the people are. He didn't drop in the middle of the ring. He ended up towards the bleachers, which is in a dome. It's not as far as a fall.
I think what happened was they started dropping him, but the earth had rotated enough that he landed in a different area. Because it's really high.
I see.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Brian.
Vinny's Googling it right now to see if that's possible.
Superdome is a height of 253 feet.
Yikes.
253?
That's interior space. That's what it says.
253 feet?
How many feet per story?
Fascinating radio.
No, it's important.
It is very, very important. What the fuck is up with my browser lately? I just type stuff in and nothing happens. 10 feet per story.
So it's 25 stories.
And so they claimed 27 stories. So they did exaggerate by 2 stories.
Although this thing I'm looking at here is post the renovation after Katrina. It may not be as high as it used to be.
That's true. Or maybe they raised the floor.
Or they raised the floor. Yeah.
Well.
The point is, Sting was way, way up in the sky when he descended via this cable.
They did exaggerate the attendance by about 5,000 people, so
Yeah.
that's not too bad to not exaggerate his 27 stories.
So the show ended with Luger and Giant and Sting clearing the ring and WCW standing tall for once. And that was that.
This was not a bad show. I mean, overdone all of the NWO run-ins and main event run-ins and everything like that. It's only going to get worse with 3 hours. But it was, aside from the Austin angle, which was the best thing we've seen all week, it was a way better show than Raw. Way better. And that's it, everybody. We are going to wrap it up. Got a lot of stuff coming up. Some big things coming here on the website, so make sure you check out the front page for more. That is it. We'll talk to you again after a while.
Good night.
Bye.